Hello everyone, James here from JVC Paints. Today, as a follow-up of the Bolt Action unboxing, which I did in my last video, I'm going to do a painting video. This is about how to paint your U.S. infantry. So I've got the rest of the sprue here, these 5 guys, and I'm going to show you point by point how I've gone through and painted these guys up. So let's check it out. Bit of a disclaimer before we start here, guys. Sometimes the lighting changes, bit of an amateur hour shit show, to be honest, but we start off here. We've got the figure all done up, primed him mahogany brown. Then I start with the first base color, which is an antique maroon, and I put it on the coat. Anything that's going to be brown, his boots. It's also the base color for his flesh. The wood stock on the front of his Thompson as well. Unlike a lot of other figure painters, I start with the flesh first. Now, my reasoning is that if you can get the flesh and the face down, then you know the figure's a winner. There's no point in continuing on if the face doesn't look right. So, what I've done here is I've base coated the face and the hands with a dark flesh color, maybe a dwarven flesh color if you're using GW paints, and I've made sure that I've left some of the creases, as you can see on his face there, for depth. Then I moved on to a second flesh highlight. Unfortunately, the lighting here sucks, and I apologize. But basically, a higher highlight of the flesh, a light flesh color, an elven flesh color, I guess. Just picking out the knuckles, the nose, the higher cheekbones, and I gave him that testicle sack chin. The next step in the process, and this is all process painting, is to give the flesh a very generous brick red wash, covering everything. Once that wash is dry, I do the eyes, and in this case his mouth as well. So what I did is I start with the black, so I did the black in the mouth and I blacked out the eyes, and then using the 000 brush, I put in white dots on either side of the black for his eyes, and I picked out a couple of his teeth as well. Finishing off the flesh, I'll go in with the highlight color again, and then really watered down so that when the paint dries, you don't really have to blend it. It just sort of evaporates, sort of like a milky consistency. And then, as the final sort of detail, I'll do the bottom lip in a very light purple. Now, with the flesh out of the way, I'll concentrate on the uniform. So here I've done his helmet up in a dark olive green, and I've done the first highlight on his trench coat there, which was just basically a dark chocolate brown over that antique maroon. Then I give the coat a second highlight using a sable brown. It's a light milky brown, as you can see here, and I'm just picking out the highlights and the folds in the cloak to give it some more depth. The next step in the process is doing the equipment and the gaiters here. They give the color here in the painting guide as Vallejo green gray. I call it celery green. Again, I'm very careful to leave some dark edges, as you can see on the ammo pouches there, to give it some depth and some contrast for later. The next step is to do the leather and the stock of the Thompson. Very subtle here, I don't even know if you can notice it, but I've gone over the antique maroon with a burnt sienna color to give it highlight number 1. Next step is to give the second highlight on the leather and the wood here. So basically it's the burnt sienna, and I've mixed it in with a bit of a honey brown, bringing it up, giving it a little bit more of an orange feel to it. At this point, the figure is basically half done. All the base colors are on, everything is ready to rock, and the next step here is to give everything a brown wash, except for the face, to tone it down a little bit. So here the brown wash has been applied, it's gotten into the recesses, it's kind of brought everything down, toned it down a little bit, and then we're going to re-highlight everything all over again. So over the brown wash, I'm going in the same order that I did the uniform. So I've gone over it again with a highlight of a sable brown on the brown coat here. Then I've done the equipment again with the original base color just over the brown lightly. I also took time here to base coat the metal on the Thompson as well as the buckle on the strap there, as you can see. The next step is doing the leather of the boots and the helmet strap and the stock of the Thompson using that highlight I used before. And also with the Thompson, I highlighted it with the mixed black with a bit of a mid-range blue as the gun color. And then I also, on the buckles, I just used pure white, and it makes it really pop. So the figure is basically finished except for the basing, and it's left to go. But some of the guys have the white helmet cover. So I started here with a Space Wolf gray type color, it's called French blue gray as the base coat. Then I gave it a highlight of it's called antique white. It's basically a really light beige, and I tried to give it as much depth as I could for contrast later. Then I gave it a wash of that Space Wolf gray color, the base coat, pretty carefully here because I'd already done the helmet strap. I only did it for the video. Normally I would do the helmet strap later. When the wash was dry, I went in and I gave it a final highlight of kind of a pure white. Also, the buttons there were black, and then I went over with the gold, just giving them some little dots there to give it a little bit more depth. Back to Thompson guy here for the basing explanation. Basically, I dry brushed the base white, did the lip in a dark chocolate brown, used Warlord Games' snow effect using some PVA or Elmer's glue to keep that on there, and then I gave it a tundra tuft from Army Painter to liven it up a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the other figures besides Thompson guy here. I tend to do a sprue 4, 5, 6 figures at a time. I find that it keeps my interest up, it keeps my mojo up. I'm not a big fan of doing, assembling all 30, 40 figures and then sort of base coating each piece and then going around, I find that it's a bit of a slog. It's a bit laborious, to be honest. I find that breaking the project up into smaller bits and then getting it to completion kind of motivates you. And you can also pick out some things that, things that you have to pay attention to, or you might learn some tricks along the way that'll help your figures look a lot better than if you just do them all in one big chunk. That's it for me today, guys. Sorry about my voice. I don't know what happened. I went to the city and I don't know, just the pollution or whatever got to me. But I hope this was useful for somebody out there. I hope that your army paints up well and you enjoy painting these great figures from Warlord Games. Let me know if you want to see me do the Fallschirmjager in the same way. Until then, guys, keep those brushes moving, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.